Hey everybody, Dr. Ford here. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to join for this brief recording. I've been asked to take just a few moments of your time and talk a little bit about how Zoom suites of tools are leveraged in emergency notification situations. And I wanted to start with this brief slide that kind of overviews Zoom because I think that so many of us know Zoom from this particular bubble in meetings, but we may not be aware of all the other things that Zoom brings to the platform. And today, as we go through this, we're going to need to leverage multiple devices inside the Zoom experience to really bring the whole process to life. Now, I want you to know that even though you're familiar with the slice at about 11 o'clock up there, the meetings, the Zoom team chat is a part of this, Zoom phone. In fact, these are the things we're going to be looking at as we examine this today. And it really plays well together as an ecosystem. Now, in talking to my superintendent, my school leadership, there are a couple of things that are on their mind all the time. First and foremost, how quickly can our people get to an issue that they need to address on campus? Because I am in rural southeast Oklahoma, there's not really a police force here in town. So we're talking about highway patrol or sheriff's office. We may be looking at upwards of 15 to 20 minutes from the time that we find out something's going on until they would actually arrive. Not only that, but we are in a very diverse and distributed location around our community. While the main part of the campus is where I'm standing today, we have buildings that are a mile, 2 miles in multiple directions, probably exactly like you do as well. And then we need to be able to get some responses for making those things happen. I need all this to work in one pane of glass, one experience. And so that's part of why we've done what we've done. Now, we talked about those things, but also foremost in their minds is the legislation that accompanies these. First, you see Kerry's Law up there, and then you see the Ray Balmes Act. So as we explored what direction to go with our phone service, we knew that we needed to be compliant with both of those. Now, I don't know any better way to do this than just walk you through it live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my content for a split sec and kind of let you see around me some of the devices that I have here. Behind me, I have some digital signage around the campus. This might be something that is in the cafeteria, in the Learning Commons, Library Media Center. Zoom Rooms, one of the pieces of that pie that we looked at, actually gives you free digital signage. And not just in rooms where there's video conferencing enabled, but on screens across campus. Another tool that we use is the Zoom Room for things like concurrent enrollment, sharing classes and stuff like that. So we may have a class going on. Some of our Zoom rooms are in kiosk mode. So sort of a self-service process where you can walk up and maybe work with somebody in campus security or healthcare, or maybe some technical help. You can just walk up and do that. So I'm bringing these three screens to you to show you that right now on campus, there's live classes going on. There are people working individually and getting their needs addressed. There may be some people in the cafeteria, the lobby, the gymnasium, or wherever. All of those things are happening day in, day out on our campus. Now, what I want to do is kind of hone in on how a teacher might trigger an emergency response. In order to do that, I'm going to show you the actual devices that our faculty members use. This is the classroom devices. This is a Zoom phone appliance. It's a Polycom unit or a Poly unit. And what I'm going to do here is you see my upcoming classes and meetings, but we're going to mock up a 911 call without having to bother the PSAP. Because if I dial 911, it's actually going to go directly to them. So I'm going to hit 933, hit the call button.
Your number 539-201-0280 for Lansport is enabled for 911. The location delivered at call time is 21444 East North Railroad, Howe, Oklahoma 74940 US.
Now, the reason I let that play all the way out is because I wanted you to see that it's actually giving the PSAP folks the physical address from whence that was called. Now, because I'm doing this in demo, I don't have a lot of sub information, but I will tell you that we have this mapped down to the room. Even if you're out on the playground, our wireless access points obviously have MAC addresses. If you're attached to that wireless access point while you're out on the playground, you dial 911, they know which playground to disperse to as a part of response. Now, you may or may not have heard some ringing going on while that audio recording was playing. The reason that ringing was going on is because I'm actually a member of the security team here in school, and I got an incoming call on my mobile phone device here. This is a little device by Poly called the Rove. Stays with me. My wife has one over at her 16,000 or 14,000 square foot warehouse where she works day in and day out. So it's her phone, it's her extensions, all those sorts of things. When those happen, I have the ability to actually listen in to the live 911 call as it's happening. And if I'm physically responsible for responding to that, like an SRO or something, I can actually barge in, inserting myself into the live experience. So as I get closer to the door, I might say something like, Ms. Jones, this is Officer X. I am standing outside the door, about to breach entry. Please stand back. Okay? So we have the ability to predetermine those groups based on the level of response and the necessity of getting people there right now. Now, the main reason that I'm in that group is because from a signage perspective, I have the ability to kind of interrupt things that are going on campus. And this is where another one of Zoom's tools kind of comes into the overall experience. I'm going to bring it up for you real quickly here. Do this. So this is the Zoom client running on my Mac right here. I'm going to pull this out so you can see just a tad. And you see that I have phone. There's where the incoming phone was missed. But I also got this team chat process. I'm going to go down here to the emergency call notifications. And you will see that I received an incoming call from this caller ID at this time, at this address, at this IP address. So I know what LAN segment this is actually happening on my campus. Came in via Zoom. What do I want to do? Well, I need to notify some folks. So first of all, we don't want anyone to freak out on me. So this is just a test with Dr. Ford. All right, so that's the messaging that's going to go out. What campus, because this is how signage lays out, what building is being impacted? What floor inside that building is being impacted? I put all that information in, and then I hit send. Now, once I hit send, I'm going to take this down so you guys can see what's going on. Remember, this was the signage in the cafeteria where people were just hanging out eating lunch, or maybe the lobby of the gym or the hall. Also, the people who were working with remote help and assistance, they've been paused. And yes, even that live class that was happening in concurrent enrollment for the college has now been stopped. All of these have been impacted by this because they were in that particular campus, in that particular building, in that particular floor. So we could put the appropriate messaging on the screens and everything else. Just that easy. Now, to release it back to what I'll call normalcy, let's go back here real quick. I'll just hit stop alert. And when I hit stop alert, this will take just a split second, but it will go back to its signage. These folks are already back with their peeps, and this is back in the live experience. This is just a brief demonstration of the power of the Zoom Unified Communications platform and how it can really work in conjunction with amazing tools from HP Poly to make some pretty instant things happen without much time elapsing, where people know where they're going and are dispatched to the right locations. And we address those legal requirements of Kerry's Law, the need to be able to just dial 911 without a prefix, and Ray Bob's Act, so that responders know exactly where to come. I'm Lance.Ford at Zoom.us. If I can help you with anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thanks for your time once again, and I'll see you soon.